Big time sprint car news with Rico Abreu and Tony Stewart for 2026. NASCAR is potentially looking at expanding their championship round to 6 drivers. Do we want to see that? IndyCar released their 2026 schedule, and there's no Mexico for the 10th year in a row. Plus, we need to keep Connor Zilich out of Australia by all means possible. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. You know how people try to find their way back into your life? You can move 1,000 miles away, you can block them on everything, but they'll still try to worm their way back in. Unfortunately for all of us, Chris Wright is going to worm his way back into our NASCAR lives because he will be in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in races this year, which is unfortunate for anybody that's in the body shop of the team that he's going to be racing for, or maybe fortunate, they're going to be able to work some overtime. Unfortunate for a number of other body shops around the Truck Series because the guy has a propensity for causing damage, but yeah, just can't keep him away right now. There will be an announcement about that sooner rather than later. He will not be racing this weekend in New Hampshire. But let's get to the biggest news of the week so far. Rico Abreu and Tony Stewart Racing. Those two sides will join forces in 2026. Rico Abreu joins Tony Stewart Racing next season, and he will be piloting that car that was vacated involuntarily by Donnie Schatz. It won't be the 14, it won't be the 15, it will continue to be Rico's 24. The team, Tony Stewart Racing, will go high limit racing next year. They'll lead the World of Outlaws. They will go high limit racing using the franchise that Rico Abreu Racing has earned, and that will be leased to TSR. So the two of them were on the Dale Jr. Download on Wednesday. The Dale Jr. Download circumvented everybody's scheduled announcement and kind of announced it themselves when they uploaded the podcast just a few minutes too early. And on there, it basically sounds like Rico Abreu Racing in Brownsburg, Indiana, and Tony Stewart Racing in Brownsburg, Indiana will merge together there, and they will operate out of the TSR shop in Brownsburg. Tony basically saying that Rico is going to run the sprint car operation the same way Donnie sort of ran it over the last few years. It will now be Rico's ship to guide, essentially. And Tony said he's fired up to go sprint car racing, said it hadn't been that way in a few years. There are some shots, maybe, unnecessarily taken at Donnie in the interview with Dale, but overall, I thought it was an interesting interview for both sides. Both of them kind of talked about racing outside of sprint cars and, other things that they're doing. But overall, I think it's an exciting thing for Tony Stewart Racing. Obviously, they've struggled with Donnie over the last couple of seasons. Rico has been absolutely on fire. It does mean that Ricky Warner will go back to Tony Stewart Racing. Saw a ton of success over there with Donnie Schatz. Those two just couldn't get it going anymore. He goes over to Rico, sees a ton of success again because on Wednesday night, I was at the high limit race at Lawrenceburg. That's where I picked up this Tony Stewart Racing. I don't know if you can see because of the, Tony Stewart Racing, Rico Abreu collab shirts already in the Rico merch hauler. So I had to pick up one, right? I just appreciate the fact that they're already ready to go. Obviously, they knew this news was coming, but you still like to see an effective merch rollout. But Rico picked up his 10th high limit win of the season on Wednesday night at Lawrenceburg, 17th sprint car win of 2025, and just an all-time banger of a race. Corey Day putting on an absolute show. He's so much fun to watch in a 410 sprint car. He and Rico battling it out, lap traffic, going through the middle. Lawrenceburg, if you haven't watched the race there, you owe it to yourself to at least go watch the high limit highlights from it, because they're basically throwing what they refer to as 3-story sliders because of the high banks at Lawrenceburg. If you slide on the bottom and go all the way up to the cushion, like, you are going a long way and you're going up at the same time. Then we had a photo finish between Aaron Reitzel and Rico Abreu at the line. Dason Pursley right there in third, ready to pounce in case anything happened. Really fun race. If you haven't been to Lawrenceburg, I urge you to get out there for a 410 sprint car race. I wish World of Outlaws and High Limit both went there each year, but right now it's just High Limit, usually in May. Got rained out, got pushed to September for a midweek race. Still super fun. But back to Tony Stewart Racing. Yeah, it'll be the 24 Rico Abreu car next year, just running for TSR. It's a good thing. The negative part about this is the fact that Tony Stewart Racing will leave World of Outlaws. They will go to High Limit next year. And the consolidation of these two teams essentially means that we're losing one national team. And that's a bummer, right? Because I hate to see World of Outlaws lose a really competent team and a really competitive team in Tony Stewart Racing with the right driver and combination, of course. I hate to see them lose that, not just to high limit, but just in general overall, because there's not one that's going to be there to fill it, at least not in the immediate future. So that's the downside to this for me, and I think for a lot of people. But for high limit, it's really fun for them, bringing TSR into the fold over there, obviously with Casey Kane Racing, and then you have the Silva and the 57 and everybody else that's over there. They've got a good lineup. They've got a really good lineup. We'll see who comes back next year, of course. It'll be the first year for the franchise as well. So, yeah, I think there could be some shifting around that happens. But overall, I think that this is a good move, a fun move. And, now we'll get to see maybe Rico take Tony Stewart back to victory lane. No one loves changing the way they determine a champion more than NASCAR. We've done it 5-ish times in the last 25 years, and we're looking to change it up once again because NASCAR and the playoff committee continue to get together to determine whether or not there's going to be format changes for the championship. And on Door Bumper Clear this week, Freddie Kraft was talking about the latest NASCAR championship format rumor, being that NASCAR will take the championship 4 and expand that to the championship 6 next year over a 4-race period. Right now, the rumor is that it's going to be 3 races, 4 races. And assuming they stick with a 16 driver field, that means you eliminate 5, you have 6 left over the last 4 races, and then whoever has the most points presumably wins at the end there. And it's an okay compromise, right? Because people have gotten tired of the one race winner take all. It's left a bad taste in our mouth. Nobody's interested. You don't see the ratings going up for it. And it has never delivered that Game 7 moment that NASCAR desperately wants to have out of it. So going to a 4-race playoff kind of appeases a bit of the fan base. And you can at least present it and be like, hey, look, it's not a one race winner take all. It works great for the NFL. Great. Let the NFL have it. They can do whatever they want over there. Take it to London. I don't really care. It doesn't work for motorsports, though. And I'm still not sure if a 4-race round is really the best way to determine a champion with 6 drivers. And if you're going to expand it to 6 and 4 races, you might as well expand it to 8 drivers and 5 races, or 10 drivers and 6 races, or heck, maybe even just 16 drivers and 10 races, and just kind of go back to the original chase and just have an expanded field for it at 16. 16 is a bit of a wild number, though. It's not quite half of the chartered cars, but, well, technically speaking, right now it is half of the chartered cars because we only have 30 chartered cars. We've got 16 cars that are in the playoffs, so obviously over half of the field is now in the playoffs. Hey, congratulations. But typically won't always be like that. But regardless, you're still putting in 45-ish% of your field into the playoffs, and it seems a little bit excessive. The only thing I really care about the future of the NASCAR playoffs and how they determine a champion is to simplify it. Because right now, it's far too convoluted for a casual fan. We've gone so far down the road, we can't turn around and see where we're trying to get back at. It's a kid walking into the woods and being like, oh crap, I have no idea how to get out of here. I'm not even sure if we drove into a cul-de-sac, we could figure our way out at this point. It's really frustrating, honestly, to watch. And I'm not just talking about elimination style. I'm talking about the entire point structure. If you ask most NASCAR fans, hey, what's the max amount of points you can get in a NASCAR Cup Series weekend? A lot of them don't know. The answer is 61. 61 is the max that you can get. But when you factor in stage points, fastest lap point, try to explain playoff points to a casual, and then also you get points for how you finish in the race after the actual checkered flag falls, and you combine them all together, and that's how you get your 61. But then you can get a playoff point, which helps you when you get to the playoffs, and then you watch the playoffs, and you have a casual that's like, oh, look at these first 3 races. Look at Bubba Wallace sitting 4th in the points right now. He's like 50, 60 points above the cutoff line. And then they look at it on Sunday morning and they're like, how did Bubba just go from 4th to 8th plus 1 now? Yeah, see, we reset the points each round of the playoffs. Well, that's dumb. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but it is what it is, I guess. It'd be like starting the NFL playoffs and being like, hey, congrats. You made it out of the wild card round. You made it in the divisional round, but, because you didn't score enough points in the regular season, you're actually going to start down 4 touchdowns today in this game. Good luck to you trying to outscore your opponent. It's like, okay. Yeah, not my favorite thing about it. Simplifying it is what needs to happen here. And whether that's getting rid of stage points, probably never going to happen. Getting rid of playoff points, getting rid of the reset, getting rid of something here has to change to try to simplify this down. Ultimately, like what I said before, going back to that 10 race chase might be enough to appease majority of the fan base here and a way to determine a champion. Get rid of winning you're in, pay 5 extra points for winning a race over what we already do to kind of incentivize winning more, even though these guys are very much incentivized to win, contrary to what the mouth breathers on the internet will say and be like, well, if you go back to a 36 race format, then you have people out there just riding around for points. I'm sorry. They're just playing to the game. The same way that Logano only had to perform in basically 4 races last year to actually win a championship. Like, okay, I'd rather somebody consistently run top 5 than somebody have an average finish of 17th, perform 4 times and win a title. Like, that doesn't make very much sense. You're telling me like you wouldn't mind seeing a 4-win NFL team go on to win the Super Bowl? People would be up in arms over that. And it could literally just never happen. But regardless, it needs to be simpler. It needs to be more streamlined, and it needs to be easier for most people to understand, because right now it's just not working. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be 3-3-4 with 6 drivers in that championship round. Keep in mind, Talladega will be in that championship round next year. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I'm interested to see if people honestly even care about the format changing at this point. Personally, I want it to change. I want to see it change. I don't like the one race winner take all. But yeah, I'm interested to see what the feedback is. On Tuesday of this week, IndyCar announced their 2026 schedule. And they've been talking about racing in Mexico for the last 10 years. And they finally are not going to be racing in Mexico once again. That just isn't going to happen, but they are hopeful to be able to race there in 2027. Mark Miles has been saying the same thing since 2015. It's crazy. It's crazy at this point that every year it's evergreen content on the IndyCar social media calendar. Are we going to race in Mexico? We'd love to. We're going to do it next year. What about next year rolls around? What about Mexico? We're going to do it next year. At this point, it's just never going to happen. Other races that won't be happening in 2026 will be the Washington, D.C. race, that proposed street race to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. That's not happening because, yeah, it turns out trying to get a street race together in basically under 12 months is really difficult and wasn't going to happen. So they went ahead and scrapped that, which was always kind of a fever dream of Fox's, which, again, was never going to happen. Then Iowa is gone. Writing was on the wall there when NASCAR came in. Hy-Vee shifted their sponsorship over there, and 18 people went to the IndyCar races here with 0 promotion around the track. You knew that was going to happen. They will not be returning to Iowa. They also will not be returning to the Thermal Club, which I know majority of NASCAR fans or IndyCar fans rather are going to shed a tear over, because that was such a beloved race on the calendar and people loved going to it. Not really, obviously. What got added to the calendar? Well, they were going to have the race in Arlington, which actually will be the bookend on a triple header to start off the season. So gone are the days of IndyCar having one race at St. Pete and then just taking a month off. See you all in April, or the very end of March. Yeah, so that's not going to happen. They're going to go from St. Pete, which will be a shared weekend with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and then they will go to Phoenix and share a weekend with NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, now known as the Xfinity Series, and the NASCAR Cup Series. It appears that IndyCar will race on Saturday afternoon, evening-ish. The O'Reilly Auto Parts will race on Saturday night, and then the Cup race will be on Sunday. So basically, NASCAR is making them play the undercard to the undercard to have a short oval back on the schedule. But for a fan in the area, 3 races in 2 days, 2 races in 1 day on an oval could be entertaining. And hey, maybe we'll see somebody attempt to do a crossover there. Scott McLaughlin, I'm very much just looking at you for this one. So that's all good news. That's great. We love to see that. Then they go to Arlington, around Jerry's World and what used to be called the ballpark at Arlington. I don't know what the heck it's called. Now lifeless dome of some sort with 0 personality, and seems like you're playing in a mall most of the time. Yeah, don't love it. But they will have an IndyCar race there. Interested to see how that looks on TV. No interest in actually going, but interested to see how it looks on TV. There will also be a double header at Milwaukee next year. Yay! We got to make up for that thermal date, I guess. I don't love double headers. It's a cop out essentially. Fun. Milwaukee was fun, but I don't love a double header by any means. They will have a new season finale as well. Gone is Nashville. It's too much fun, made too much sense. Penske Entertainment, not known for liking things that are fun for the most part, have decided to move that to July, which will have a lead-in from the World Cup final. So I understand the logic here. If you're going to have a lead-in of a major audience, a massive, massive audience, gigantic audience is going to lead into it, you don't want to put on a race like Laguna Seca. You want to put on a race like Nashville, which is a high-speed oval. It's fun. It always has put on a pretty good race the last couple of years. You want to have that be the lead-in. I get that. I understand that. Unfortunately, you're kind of, snake oil salesman, the fans that are tuning in here, because it's not what they're going to see more often than not. Actually, you're only going to see it like one other time in terms of a high-speed oval. But it will allow them to pull a CBS and be like, we had 14 million people tuned in to watch the IndyCar race at Nashville. The same way Formula E CBS did that with the Formula E thing. Yeah, that was a bit of a lie when they were like, 8 million people tuned in to watch this. What are you talking about here? But yeah, it makes sense for the lead-in. Laguna Seca as a finale is an absolute snoozer. That's a non-starter. That is put on Lord of the Rings, watch me fall asleep in 5 minutes type of decision. Yeah, I don't think anybody likes that. Ultimately, I'd love to have seen Nashville retain its spot as that championship race, and for that lead-in race for IndyCar to have gone out and went to another high-speed oval, whether that's a place like Texas, a place like Miami, Chicagoland, Kentucky, Michigan. Obviously, that will never happen, but it would be fun to see things like that happen, but it is not going to happen. So we will see how it all plays out. But yeah, it was not a very imaginative schedule by IndyCar, which we've come to expect. Last topic of the day, Connor Zilich. So Brody Kostecki, Will Brown on their podcast talked about the potential of Connor Zilich going down to Australia to run the Supercars race alongside Austin Cindric, who Ford is sending down there. So think of Connor potentially as the General Motors answer for that, since Kyle Larson backed out, presumably after how bad his double attempt went. Is like, listen, I'm not going to go down and try something new again, at least not this year. But Will Brown said that when he was in Portland for the Xfinity Series weekend a few weeks ago, there's some rumors floating around that Connor may go down there. Now, Connor Zilich going down there would actually be really fun to see. The kid is wildly talented. He's been great in everything that he's ever gotten in. Is he going to win? Absolutely not. He's not going to pull a reverse Shane Van Gisbergen, but it still would have been fun to see him go down there. My biggest concern is the kid is injury prone at this point, right? He broke his collarbone just trying to celebrate a race win. He broke his back earlier this year. He was trying to slide down the hood of his car at Gateway and ripped his fire suit. It's a good thing he didn't win at Bristol, because he probably would have cut his hands off with the sword. And now you want to send him to a continent which is full of the most dangerous things out there that you can think of. The Stingrays didn't work out great for Steve. We need to keep him out of the water by all means. They have brush fires. Somebody send a fire extinguisher with him. The sun exists down there. He's a fair-skinned kid. Somebody get him the sunblock to go around it. They have crocodiles, not great. They have koalas. That can give you diseases for sure. And he seems like a guy that would want to pick one up immediately. Not great. And then touch his face because he's young. He's a kid still, right? That's what they do. And then you throw in the fact that they have shoeies. That's not... The hygiene around that alone is concerning to me. I don't know if you can get hepatitis from it, but it seems like you probably could. A lot of sweat, don't know where that's coming from, especially if it's not your shoe. Don't drink out of somebody else's shoe. I don't think I should have to tell you that, but I feel like I have to tell you that at this point. Spiders as big as his face. With his luck, is going to latch onto his face. Then you have snakes. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Somebody's going to have to walk around with anti-venom at all times, because there's a chance that he's going to get bit by a snake. So at some point, you might have to just send him down there in a bubble like he's Jake Gyllenhaal. I got it wrong on social media. I called him Adam Sandler. I don't know why I have Sandler on the brain. I think I have Sandler on the brain most days. But it was Jake Gyllenhaal back in 2001, if you can remember back that far. You might have to send him down in the bubble. Then you have the fact that they have kangaroos there. And with Connor's luck, might get punched in the face. He might get Mike Tyson right into Bolivian if that happens, and it would be concerning for sure. At the end of the day, though, I would absolutely love to see him go down to Adelaide, run the finale of the Supercars Championship down there, have his best shot at turn 8. And honestly, Connor Zilich probably lives for things like turn 8. So yeah, let's see him go down there and do it. I absolutely want to see him go down there and do it. I just want him to be safe if he goes down there, because we all want to see him in the Cup Series next year. And we want to see the battles that he and SVG can have on road courses. So let me know in the comments what you think about Rico Abreu joining Tony Stewart Racing. Should NASCAR expand the Championship 4 to the Championship 6? The IndyCar schedule, do you like it? Do you care about it? Do you even pay attention to IndyCar at this point? And then Connor Zilich going to Australia. I think it'd be fun. Does everybody else think that as well? Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.